Hey guys, Trent here coming at you with another standard deck tech. This is red blue favorable wins in standard. So the idea behind this deck is everything flies. We got favorable wins to pump up our flyers, with the exception of two creatures, Pia and Nalar, but it makes a flying token as well as Whirler Virtuoso makes flying tokens. So the concept of this deck is to be aggressive and I think push through damage every turn. Kind of try to ignore what your opponent's doing because they're on the ground and we fly. Basically, is the concept. We'll go over the mana base real quick. We got 24 lands, a playset of Ether Hubs because this is an energy deck. We got Harness Lightning and Whirler Virtuoso, so a little extra energy there. Got the 4 coming to play tapped lands, Highland Lake. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 islands and 7 mountains. And the playset of the Fastland Spire Bluff Canal. So in the 1-drop slot, we got Storm Tamers. This is a really good card. Just being able to counter a ability that targets your creature or even to you. That's one thing I'm going to have to remember is that you can actually use this to stop duress. You could use this to stop a lightning strike to your face. Got a couple shocks as some early spot removal. Got our namesake card, Favorable Winds. Gives all our flying creatures +1/+1 permanently. It's really good with Rekindling Phoenix and Glorybringer. Being able to beat the other matching card, your opponent's opposing Phoenixes and Glorybringers in the sky. And just being able to put Rekindling Phoenix out of range of a Braid and Lightning Strike is quite relevant. Warkite Marauder, another good incentive to play this strategy of deck. With the Marauder, we can shrink down our opponent's creatures. You can then you could kill an Adanto Vanguard or a Scarab God or a Hazaret or whatever with just a lightning strike. With just a shock. Playset of Harness Lightning, just a really solid removal spell. We're an energy making deck, so our excess energy can be used for Whirler Virtuoso. Couple Pia Nalaras makes a flyer. And it's just an all-around good 3-drop. And Whirler Virtuoso, more the same. We run the Virtuosos, I guess, more than the Pia Nalar due to the legendary of Pia Nalar. And the 2/3 body. Couple of Harvesters. Any creature we generate, of course, can crew this. That's why we run the Harvester. Can make a little extra energy as well if we want to utilize that. If not, we can use it for lifelink on the Harvester. Couple mainboard Chandra Torch of Defiance. Just an all-around good 4-drop, even in this deck. With this Rekindling Phoenix and Glorybringer, that's a high density of really must-answer threats to try to overwhelm our opponent. And we got the Phoenixes. It's proven out to be one of the premier 4-drops in Standard. It's just really good that they have to have basically 2 removal spells or an exile effect to get rid of it. And in this deck, it becomes a 5/4 a lot of times. And rounding it up with our 5-drops, a playset of Glorybringers. Fits perfectly in the theme of the deck and is just a great finisher. So sideboard, we got the 3rd Harvester against heavy aggressive matchups like Mono Red. Got the extra Chandra to bring in the control matchups and maybe grindy mid-range matchups. Got a single Fling. I actually changed this I got this from a list from, I believe, it was the Star City Games. They got like 10th place or something like that. So that's where I got this list from, by the way. That list had 2 Flings. I trimmed it down to 1. I wanted to put in the extra Braid because right now quite popular is the white-black vampire deck, and I think we will have a little bit of trouble against that deck. They're flooding the board with creatures, plus a lot of the creatures gain life too. And then also Adanto Vanguard can be kind of difficult if we don't have a Warkite Marauder to deal with it. So for that reason, I went down this Fling. By the way, I guess the Fling is probably against matchups where probably like a mid-range grindy matchup where we know they're not running blue, we know they don't have counter magic, and we can just fling our Rekindling Phoenix or whatever to try to win the damage race, basically, is what I assumed that was for. So I cut one of those and put in the Fourth of Braid because we just want as much spot removal as possible against that vampire deck and decks similar to it. And a Braid was a 3 of anyways. It's probably our only real answer to the God Pharaoh's Gift deck, and just an all-around solid removal spell. We got a couple Chandra's defeats against pretty much Chandra would be the number one target we want to hit with this. Otherwise, we bring it in against, mono red decks, the red green monsters deck that's running around now. 3 negates for our control matchup. Approach with the Second Sun deck, blue black control, stuff like that. And then we got these 3 nimble obstructionists. These I'm going to bring in against approach. We can counter the triggered ability of approach with the Second Suns, the game-winning trigger. We can counter stuff like, what's a good one? I think we could actually counter like an Adonto Vanguard if they pay 4 life to give it indestructible. I believe that's an activated ability, stuff like that. In playtesting, I did actually counter a relevant activated ability. I'm trying to think of what it was. Oh, yes. They attempted a Field of Ruin, and that's an activated ability, so I cycled this in response. So they sacked their land, didn't get to search a land, and didn't kill my land. And I cycled this and drew a card. So that's the sideboard, and that's the deck. I'm going to run it through a league and see how good it does in a friendly league. So let's go.